Ladies and gentlemen, today I want to speak to the hearts of those who may feel unloved, unseen, and undervalued. For every woman who feels lost, rejected, or invisible, let me tell you something today: you are not forgotten. You are not invisible. But to feel truly seen, you must first see yourself with new eyes, eyes of understanding and compassion. The journey begins with knowing your worth. You see, too often we wait for someone else to affirm our value, to tell us we are worthy, that we are loved. But if there is one truth I wish for you to embrace, it is this: you must learn to be the author of your own worth. You cannot expect to find love or validation in someone else if you have not recognized it in yourself. The love you crave, the validation you seek, all of it begins within. Understand your worth, not because someone told you it's so, but because you were created with an undeniable value, a value that doesn't decrease based on how others see or treat you. Yet society tries to tell women what they should be, how they should look, and what it means to be worthy of love. Society would have you believe that you must mold yourself to fit certain standards, to play certain roles, and to wear the right labels. But my friends, the society's standards are too narrow, too shallow to hold the vast beauty and depth of who you are. Your worth is not bound to those definitions. You were designed with a purpose that transcends all of society's limitations, and your fulfillment is found in that purpose, not in the approval of others. True joy comes not from living to please the world, but from living to fulfill the calling placed in your heart. Let society's standards go. They were never meant to be your compass. Now let's talk about love, for I know many have been taught that love, especially romantic love, is the ultimate validation. But love in its truest form is far bigger than romance alone. To the unloved woman who thinks she is incomplete without someone else, I say this: do not diminish the love you already carry within you. There is a whole world of love out there: love in friendships, love in family, love in community, and love within your very soul. Open your heart to all the ways love already surrounds you, and you'll find yourself overflowing with gratitude for the love that's been there all along. True love enriches your life, yes, but it does not complete you. Only you can do that. To the woman who feels she must be perfect to be loved, I want to remind you, perfection is not the goal, purpose is. When you live with purpose, your life gains a depth that no romantic relationship alone can give you. Purpose lights a fire in your spirit, one that grows stronger every day, and one that is not easily extinguished by the winds of loneliness or rejection. You were not made to be everything to everyone. You were made to be exactly who you are, with a unique purpose that only you can fulfill. Stop trying to be flawless and focus instead on being purposeful. Purpose has a way of filling the empty spaces in our hearts with meaning and fulfillment. Lastly, I want you to know that your wholeness comes from within. You do not need another person to make you whole. You are already complete. Embrace your own company, learn to love who you are, and trust that you are enough as you are. When you become whole and complete on your own, something remarkable happens. You attract the love, the friendships, and the opportunities that are meant for you, and you're no longer dependent on anyone else to fill the gaps. You begin to live in a state of self-empowerment, a life where you are fully and beautifully yourself, lacking nothing. So, ladies and gentlemen, to every woman who feels unloved today, I encourage you to look within to find that immense reservoir of strength, purpose, and love that is waiting for you. You are not simply waiting for someone else to recognize your worth. You are creating it, living it, and embracing it every single day. And that, my friends, is the most powerful love of all. Understanding the power of self-worth. Understanding the power of self-worth is like unlocking a door within yourself that has long been closed. It's an awakening, a moment when you realize that your value does not come from anyone else's approval. nor does it depend on someone else's affection or recognition. Too often, we base our sense of worth on external forces, on whether or not we're praised, validated, or loved by others. We let the opinions, judgments, and affections of those around us determine how we see ourselves, forgetting that real worth comes from within, that it's rooted in something much deeper than any external validation could provide. Imagine for a moment that you are a treasure chest. This treasure chest holds immeasurable value, jewels, and riches beyond counting. But what happens when you allow others to decide whether that chest has worth? You give them the power to decide if those jewels shine brightly or if they're worth anything at all. Yet the true value doesn't change based on their perception. Those jewels, your unique gifts, your personality, your talents, your dreams remain valuable regardless of anyone's opinion. This is what self-worth truly is, understanding that your value is intrinsic, unshakable, and not up for negotiation. When you know your worth, you begin to live differently. You carry yourself with a quiet confidence, a sense of security that no one can take away. Knowing your self-worth is like building a foundation of stone beneath you. No matter the storms of life, no matter who comes or who goes, that foundation stays strong, steady, and unyielding. Self-worth isn't just about liking yourself or thinking you're good enough. It's a powerful realization that you are complete just as you are, that you have a unique purpose, and that you do not need anyone else to validate or define that purpose for you. Now, this journey isn't always easy. Sometimes we've been taught by our upbringing, by society, or by past experiences that we are not enough. We carry invisible scars from those moments when we were overlooked, criticized, or dismissed. We start to internalize these messages, convincing ourselves that if only we were more or different, we'd be lovable, respected, or valued. But I want to tell you that none of these voices define you. None of these past experiences hold the power to dictate your future unless you let them. You have the choice right here and now to reclaim your worth, to let go of those old beliefs, and to plant new seeds of self-acceptance, self-respect, and self-love. When we understand our worth, we also understand that we are deserving of good things. We don't need to settle for less because we feel we aren't good enough for more. We don't need to accept mistreatment because we doubt we'll find better. Knowing your self-worth means recognizing that you are worthy of love, kindness, and respect simply because you exist. It means no longer compromising on what truly matters to you just to fit in or be accepted. When you honor your worth, you align with people, opportunities, and experiences that reflect that worth, and you let go of what no longer serves you or lifts you higher. This self-worth empowers you to say no to what isn't right for you, even if it means standing alone. It empowers you to set boundaries, not out of anger or resentment, but out of respect for yourself. When you know your worth, you treat yourself with the same kindness and dignity that you would extend to someone you cherish. You become your own biggest advocate, your own source of encouragement, your own source of love. This is not selfishness, this is self-respect. And when you respect yourself, others will respect you too, not because you demanded it, but because they can see you value yourself. I want to remind each of you here today, there is no need to wait for someone else to recognize your worth. You don't have to stand on the sidelines hoping someone will finally see you, appreciate you, or love you the way you deserve. That recognition begins within. It begins with you standing before the mirror, looking yourself in the eye and acknowledging, I am enough now, I will be enough when I accomplish this, or I'll be enough if they approve of me. No, you are enough right here, right now, in this very moment. And that understanding is the power of self-worth. When you tap into this power, your entire outlook shifts. The world becomes a place of possibilities rather than limitations. You stop chasing after things that diminish you and start focusing on what empowers you. You don't need to prove yourself to anyone. You don't need to hustle for your worth. You are free to grow, to pursue your dreams, to live fully knowing that your worth is secure, unshaken by the ups and downs of life. So today, let's honor the treasure within. Let's hold fast to the knowledge that we are worthy of love, respect, and dignity. And let's remember that our worth isn't something to be given or taken away by anyone else. It is ours, a birthright, a gift that no one can diminish. Embrace it. Live it. And let it be the guiding force that leads you to the life you deserve. Breaking free from society's definitions. Breaking free from society's definitions is a courageous journey, a journey that every woman must undertake to truly find herself. Society tells us from a young age what we should aspire to be. It lays out rules, standards, and ideals, building an image of what a worthy woman looks like, what she should say, how she should behave, and even what she should feel. It is as if a script has been written for each one of us long before we could form our own thoughts or dreams. And in our eagerness to belong, we find ourselves molding and bending to fit that script, to conform to society's expectations. But let me ask you this: what is the cost of living according to someone else's definition? What do we lose when we shape ourselves according to a vision that isn't our own? Living by society's definitions may bring temporary acceptance, but it rarely brings lasting fulfillment. When we allow the world to dictate our worth, we find ourselves chasing approval rather than living authentically. We spend our energy attempting to meet standards that are always shifting, standards that are shallow and superficial, standards that rarely consider the richness of our true selves. We worry about what others think. We seek validation in all the wrong places, and we begin to believe that our worth is something external, something that we must earn, rather than something that is intrinsic to who we are. But friends, life was never meant to be a performance, and you were never meant to shrink yourself to fit into the mold society provides. The moment we begin to understand this, we take the first step toward real freedom. Real freedom comes when we release ourselves from the grip of society's definitions. It begins when we decide that we are worthy, not because of how well we fit into the world's expectations, but because of who we are at our core. This freedom allows us to stand tall, to speak with our own voice, and to live by our own values without apology. And I'll tell you something extraordinary happens when we make this decision. Our perspective shifts, and instead of looking outward for validation, we begin to look inward for truth. We stop asking, what do others think of me? And start asking, what do I think of myself? We start to see ourselves as individuals, each with a unique purpose and a unique story, rather than just another person trying to fit in. When a woman breaks free from society's definitions, she discovers a kind of strength she never knew she had. No longer weighed down by the opinions of others, she finds that she can lift her gaze higher, dream bolder, and pursue her purpose without fear. She becomes a woman who lives with intention, a woman who knows her own worth, and a woman who understands that her value is not determined by someone else's limited view of her potential. She is not here to fit into a box. She is here to break through barriers. She is here to explore, to grow, to learn, and to live fully unbound by the restrictive labels that the world tries to impose upon her. As we step into this freedom, we discover the beauty of our individuality. We begin to appreciate our own thoughts, our own values, our own dreams. We start to see that there is beauty in our imperfections, wisdom in our mistakes, and strength in our struggles. And we realize that these are the things that make us who we are, not the polished images that society wants us to project, but the real, authentic person beneath it all. We realize that we are not here to live up to anyone's expectations but our own, and that our lives are far too precious to be spent chasing standards that diminish our true potential. So I urge each one of you today, dare to define yourself on your own terms. Dare to be the woman who stands for what she believes in, who values herself regardless of the world's opinions. Embrace your journey with all its ups and downs and know that you are enough just as you are. Don't let the world tell you who to be. Tell the world who you are. And as you do, you will find a freedom, a joy, and a peace that no one can take away. You will be living not just as a product of society, but as the author of your own life. A life that is uniquely and beautifully yours. Redefining love beyond romantic relationship. When we talk about love, so often we speak only of romance. Our stories, songs, and films paint a picture of love that revolves around finding a perfect partner, the one who will complete us and give our lives meaning. And yet, for so many, this vision of love becomes narrow and limiting, creating a sense of lack and incompleteness. But what if love, true and expansive love, is far more than romance alone? What if the deepest, most fulfilling forms of love could be found beyond a romantic partner? Today, I want to speak about the other faces of love, the love that can transform us, inspire us, and give us purpose, even when there is no romantic relationship in sight. Let us begin by recognizing that love is too powerful, too sacred to be limited to one expression. A life centered on love must expand beyond romance to include the rich, beautiful relationships that shape our lives. There is love in friendships, where people choose to walk alongside us, where loyalty, laughter, and shared memories create bonds just as profound as any romantic connection. Think of a friend who has supported you through hard times, celebrated your victories, or even just shared the mundane details of your day. These friendships are a form of love, one that doesn't always get the spotlight, but is there, steady and true, enriching our lives in ways that only genuine friendship can. And then there is the love we find within our families, those bonds that teach us who we are and where we come from. Family can be complicated, yes, but it is also a source of love that can ground us and give us a sense of belonging. Our families are our first experience of love. They shape our values, our dreams, and even our view of ourselves. Whether these connections are with our parents, our siblings, or even chosen family, they give us a foundation of support and understanding. Family love is sometimes quiet, sometimes messy, but it is deeply woven into the fabric of who we are. We carry this love with us everywhere we go, and it strengthens us in ways we may not always recognize. Yet, there is one form of love we often overlook entirely, the love we cultivate within ourselves. When we begin to understand love as something more than a relationship with another person, we make space to nurture a relationship with our own heart, our own mind, our own spirit. Self-love is not selfish, it is essential. It is the foundation on which every other form of love is built. Without self-love, we find ourselves constantly searching for validation, constantly looking for someone else to tell us we are enough. But when we learn to love and accept ourselves, we are no longer waiting for others to define our worth. We become whole within ourselves, strong and confident in the knowledge that we are valuable just as we are. Self-love frees us from the need to seek approval. It lets us stand in our own truth, and it empowers us to give love to others without expecting anything in return. Beyond these relationships, there is a love that connects us to the world itself. This is the love of community, the love we experience when we contribute to something greater than ourselves. It's the feeling of connection that comes from helping a neighbor, volunteering, or simply being there for someone in need. Community love is expansive, inclusive, and generous. It reminds us that we are all part of a larger whole, that our actions ripple out to affect others in ways we may never see. This form of love requires no romantic attachment. It is the quiet, steady commitment to making the world a better place, to reaching out in kindness and compassion, to being the source of light for those around us. When we embrace community love, we find purpose, we find fulfillment, and we find a sense of belonging that fills the heart in ways romance alone never could. Think of love as a garden filled with different flowers, each one unique and beautiful. Romantic love is but one flower in that garden, but the garden itself contains many others: friendship, family, self-love, community. When we focus solely on the romantic flower, we miss the vibrant beauty of the entire garden. We overlook the richness that comes from cultivating love in many forms, and we rob ourselves of the joy that comes from experiencing love in all its diversity. But when we choose to nurture the full garden, to embrace love in all its expressions, we create a life that is truly abundant. You see, love is a gift that we give and receive in countless ways. It is not defined by who holds our hand, but by who fills our heart. We do not need one person to complete us. We are made whole by the collective love that surrounds us and flows through us. So let us redefine what it means to love. Let us expand our understanding to include not only romance, but friendship, family, community, and self. Let us fill our lives with love that is vast, enduring, and boundless. And in doing so, we find that we are never truly alone, for love is all around us, in the people we meet, in the world we touch, and in the very depths of our own hearts. Embracing purpose over perfection. Embracing purpose over perfection is a choice that leads us away from the impossible and into the transformative. Too often we get caught in the relentless pursuit of perfection, a vision of flawlessness that demands we sculpt every aspect of ourselves into something that others find worthy. But here's a truth that might surprise you: perfection is a mirage, an illusion, and chasing it leaves us exhausted, drained, and perpetually unsatisfied. True freedom, true fulfillment lies not in perfection, but in perfection, but in purpose. Purpose is the anchor that holds us steady, the light that guides us through both calm and storm. Purpose is what tells us why we're here, why we endure, and how we can make our time here meaningful. To embrace purpose over perfection is to acknowledge that life is not about being flawless. It's about being committed. It's about being passionate. It's about being courageous enough to walk in the direction of what truly matters to you, even when you stumble, even when you fall. Each of us has a unique calling, a set of gifts, passions, and visions that are unlike anyone else's. But these gifts weren't meant to be perfected in private, polished until they're untouchable. No, they were meant to be shared, meant to touch the lives of others, meant to reflect the richness of the human experience with all its twists, turns, and imperfections. When we focus on purpose, we recognize that our value doesn't lie in the approval of others or in some arbitrary standard of perfect. Our value lies in the impact we create, the lives we touch, the legacy we build. Think about it. If you spend your day striving for perfection, you may look polished on the outside, but you're likely feeling hollow within. Perfection is brittle. It doesn't have room for growth, for adaptation, for the beautiful unfolding of life's true potential. Purpose, on the other hand, is flexible and alive. It can grow with you, change with you, and guide you through every phase of life. Purpose lets you make mistakes, lets you learn, lets you rise stronger each time, because it knows that your value is not diminished by the moments you falter. Imagine the courage, the power, the sense of peace you could find if you let go of the need to be perfect and instead embrace the calling you feel deep within. Imagine allowing yourself to be vulnerable, to be authentic, to be real. In doing so, you inspire others not through some unattainable ideal, but through the simple truth of who you are. And make no mistake, when you live in alignment with your purpose, you give others permission to do the same. You show them that it's not about looking perfect, it's about showing up wholeheartedly, about giving your best and allowing that to be enough. Because when your best is driven by purpose, it has the power to touch hearts, change lives, and transform the world. Purpose doesn't demand that you have all the answers. It only asks that you are willing to seek them. It doesn't expect you to have everything together. It only invites you to take one step at a time, trusting that each step will lead you closer to the person you're meant to become. There is a profound beauty in embracing this journey over the polished destination of perfection. You get to live fully, to explore all facets of who you are, to see yourself not as a finished product, but as a work in progress, brave, resilient, and constantly growing. When you embrace purpose, you tap into a power that is unshakable. The storms of life may come, criticisms may arise, and setbacks may appear, but they do not define you. Purpose grounds you, reminding you that you are not here to be admired from afar, but to make a real, tangible difference. And that difference doesn't require you to be flawless. It only requires you to be faithful, to show up with a willing heart, ready to give what you have, to serve where you can, to be true to what you believe. Purpose is not about perfection, it's about progress. About moving steadily toward a life that resonates with meaning and connection. Let me tell you this, the world doesn't need more perfect people. It needs people who are willing to embrace their purpose, who are not afraid to be vulnerable, to make mistakes, to learn from them, and to grow. It needs people who are not so concerned with being polished that they forget to be present. When you live with purpose, you don't just exist, you come alive. You experience each day with a profound sense of intention, with a joy that's not dependent on perfection, but on the beautiful, messy, incredible journey of becoming who you were always meant to be. So choose purpose over perfection. Choose the path that leads to meaning, connection, and true fulfillment. It may not be the smoothest path, and it may not be the most polished, but it will be the most rewarding. It will be the path that in the end fills your life with memories, with love, with accomplishments that matter, and with a deep sense of peace, knowing that you lived not for appearances, but for something real, something true, something that endures. Becoming whole and complete on her own. Becoming whole and complete on her own. This is the journey of a woman who learns over time that her true worth lies not in another's approval, but within herself. There's a quiet power, a quiet strength in a woman who has discovered that her value is not defined by who loves her, who praises her, or who validates her, but rather by the steadfast love she holds for herself. It's a love that goes beyond any fleeting compliments or temporary affirmations. This love is rooted in her own soul, in the depths of her being, and it is unshakable. It is a love that cannot be taken away because it is self-made, built from within. You see, we live in a world that often tells women that to be complete, to be truly happy, they need someone else to validate them. We hear it in music, we see it in movies, and we feel it in the expectations of society. We're told that fulfillment lies in finding someone who will fill the gaps, who will complete us, who will make us whole. But this kind of thinking is flawed. It places our sense of completeness in the hands of another person, making it fragile and temporary. Because the truth is, no one, not a friend, a partner, or even family can complete you if you haven't found that wholeness within yourself. Becoming whole on her own is a path that requires courage. It requires a woman to look within and to confront her insecurities, to heal old wounds, and to embrace every part of herself, the strengths and the flaws alike. It is a process of coming to terms with who she truly is and learning to love that person fully. This journey isn't easy. It's one of the hardest things a person can do, to dig deep and face what lies beneath the surface, to sit with the uncomfortable truths and to find acceptance there. But in that process, a woman finds a strength that no external validation can match. When a woman becomes whole and complete on her own, she becomes a force. She no longer depends on others to make her feel worthy or valuable because she knows her worth already. She no longer fears being alone because she has learned that her own company is enough. She no longer lets the opinions of others define her because she has a deeper understanding of who she is. And in that understanding, she finds peace. She finds a kind of love that doesn't waver, that doesn't demand, that doesn't diminish. This love is constant, unwavering, because it comes from a place that no one else can reach her own heart. Imagine, if you will, the power of a woman who has become whole on her own. She walks through life with a calm assurance, a quiet confidence. She knows who she is, and she knows that she doesn't need anyone else to complete her. She is complete just as she is. She is like a mountain, grounded, immovable, steady. She knows that whatever storms come her way, she can withstand them. She knows that she doesn't need anyone to save her because she has learned to save herself. She has learned to be her own support, her own cheerleader, her own friend. And in doing so, she has found a freedom that is beyond words. This wholeness, this completeness doesn't mean that she has closed herself off from others or that she doesn't desire love, connection, or companionship. No, it means that she approaches those things differently. She doesn't seek them out of a place of need or lack. She doesn't look for someone to fill the gaps because there are no gaps. She seeks connection from a place of abundance, of strength, of choice. She chooses to love, to connect, to give, not because she needs to, but because she wants to. She isn't afraid of losing herself in the process because she is firmly grounded in who she is. Becoming whole on her own is a journey that allows a woman to be free. Free from the expectations of others, free from the fear of being alone, free from the need to prove her worth. She has found a sanctuary within herself, a place where she can rest, where she can be her truest self without fear, without judgment. She has built a home within her own heart. And that home is filled with love, acceptance, and peace. It is a home that no one else can shake because it is built on a foundation that she has created with her own hands, her own heart, her own spirit. And so to every woman who feels incomplete, who feels like she needs someone else to make her whole, I say this: you are enough. You are worthy, you are valuable, and you are complete just as you are. You don't need anyone else to tell you this. You don't need anyone else to validate it. It is a truth that lies within you, waiting for you to discover it, to embrace it, to live it. So go on that journey. Find that wholeness within yourself. Build that foundation, that home, that unshakable love. And know that in doing so, you are becoming the most powerful, the most complete version of yourself. You are becoming whole. You are becoming free. And that, my friends, is a beautiful thing. Ladies and gentlemen, as we come to the close of this message, let us hold fast to one profound truth: the unloved woman, the woman who has struggled with doubt, rejection, or even loneliness, is capable of extraordinary transformation. She does not need someone else to complete her, for within her is the capacity for strength, joy, and love beyond measure. Becoming whole and complete on her own is a journey, yes, but it's also a destination. It's a place of freedom where she understands her own worth and no longer relies on the world's validation. It's a place where she stands strong, firm in her own identity, ready to face whatever life may bring with resilience and grace. She becomes a woman of unshakable purpose, a light to others, and a living testament that love, true, unbreakable love, begins within. So let her walk forward, not with the weight of others' opinions, but with the strength of her own self-belief. Let her carry herself with dignity, rooted in the knowledge that she is enough, that she is loved, and that she is already whole.